My fellow citizens and residents, I am extremely happy to greet you today as your government marks its 100th day in office. Your government began working from day zero and has not rested. We have been swift in our actions in some areas and more deliberate and methodical in other areas. But in all spheres, we have been prudent and pragmatic. During the election campaign this past summer, I promised our people a new day and a better way for St. Kitts and Nevis. Therefore, we have to lay blocks of integrity and steel of innovation in this new foundation for growth in our country. A foundation that will empower our women and young people, a foundation that will strengthen our economy, a foundation that will restore pride and resiliency in our nation, a foundation that will support the 7 pillars of positive change that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party campaigned on, a foundation to establish a sustainable island state. Even as we continue to clear away the wreckage of COVID-19 pandemic and tackle the effects of global inflation, your government recognizes that we cannot revert to the same tourism policies. We must begin to venture deeper. We cannot have an economy that is built on outdated financial regulations and policies. We must have financial advancement through enlightenment, partnerships, balance, and diversification. Our people cannot get tomorrow's jobs with yesterday's skills. We must transform education. Your government has begun doing that in our first 100 days. We have effected several national milestones such as the appointment of the first female Governor General's deputy, female Speaker of National Assembly, and Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, 3 women included in the federal cabinet as part of the government's agenda for gender equality. Approval of a restoration and transformation project for the home of the Right Excellent Sir Robert L. Bratcher, the Federation's first national hero. Consultation and drafting of the new citizenship by investment regulations to strengthen and improve the citizenship by investment program for long-term sustainability. As pledged, your government has provided financial assistance to you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. A gratuitous payment for employees unjustly terminated for not taking the COVID-19 vaccine and who have not benefited from a statutory severance payment and had filed complaints with the Labor Department or union. Payment of honorarium to hundreds of government employees who worked on the front line during the COVID-19 pandemic. Financial support to SCELEC to enable lower energy costs for our residents. Introduction of a 2-monthly duty-free concession window in November and December 2022. Your government has begun to revolutionize the healthcare sector, as pledged, with immediate removal of all COVID-19 related health and travel restrictions on day 1 in office, to ensure that returning nationals and visitors have free access to the Federation guided by scientific data. Introduction of a financial assistance program for any child in need of medical assistance only available overseas. MRI machine source for JNF Hospital to provide easier and affordable access to residents. Implementation of 24/7 medical doctor services at the Poxon Medical Center. Certification of approximately 250 healthcare workers from St. Kitts and Nevis in life-saving techniques. As pledged, we have begun to foster meaningful change and development in our education system. We have offered a free tuition policy for all students attending the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College to ensure that our people have access to higher education. Introduction of back-to-school discounted VAT rate days to ease the financial burden on families during these tough worldwide economic times. Establishment of Teacher Education Award to encourage teachers to excel in their studies. Payment of economic costs for all nationals studying at University of the West Indies in all disciplines. Sourcing over 4,000 electronic devices for our children. As pledged, the tourism sector has begun the work to diversify our economy with innovative, transformative ideas. We have launched a Venture Deeper tourism brand campaign internationally to restore domestic and foreign investor confidence and stimulate consumer enthusiasm. Passed the Civil Aviation Amendment Act, an OECS initiative which allows the Director General of the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority to make regulations for safety and security at our sub-regional airports. As pledged, infrastructure and environment remain priorities, and as such, we have begun the work to ensure that our children grow up in a climate-resilient environment, where special attention is paid to preserving our land and water resources to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We have begun consultations and the initiation of the plan for creating a resilient energy sector through consultations with representatives from the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, the Caribbean Development Bank, the St. Kitts Electricity Company, and Nevis Electricity Company Limited to establish geothermal energy. Re-establishment of the Water Board to address the urgent water problem throughout St. Kitts. Approval of a project to build 2 partially solar-powered desalination plants. Digitization of the land allocation database for land development. Your government is committed to social protection and social development. Social protection refers to all the programs that a government provides to its citizens to assist with the advancement from vulnerability to self-reliance. As pledged, there has been passing of the Domestic Violence Amendment Act, which enhances the protection regime for victims of domestic violence and provides victims with swifter access to justice. Transition of the PAP welfare program to the Ministry of Social Services to be revamped and improved. Launch of the Girls Empowerment Program. As part of our commitment to safeguarding our people and ensuring that you live in an environment that is healthy and clean, we have launched the Ministry of Agriculture Asset Management Program to rehabilitate various properties and compounds across St. Kitts in an effort to boost productivity and create clean and green spaces. Establish a team consisting of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the Ministry of Sustainable Development to begin the validation of 40 potential water harvesting and water intake sites on St. Kitts and Nevis, with 24 sites on St. Kitts and 16 sites on Nevis. As pledged, we are committed to usher in an ambitious youth-driven transformation in our country through the Ministry of Sports and the Creative Economy in order to unleash transformative ideas and policies that will enrich our people and our country. To date, we have had the successful hosting of the 60 and CPL cricket tournaments, showing the government's commitment to hosting sporting events and development of our sporting industry. Financial contribution on behalf of the Ministry of Sports to Jazara Clarkson, our 16-year-old sporting phenom, who was named to the West Indies Women's Under-19 cricket team. Financial assistance to the teams that qualified for the Super 6 football playoffs. As pledged, we have been working to ensure that the long-awaited constitutional, electoral, and legislative reforms are achieved. During the first 100 days in office, your government has appointed 3 new commissioners of oaths to improve efficiencies in the Registry of Lands and High Court Registry. Engage an acting DPP, acting assistant DPP, and other staff assigned to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to improve efficiencies. Establishment and activation of the Joint Constitutional Review Committee with the Legal Department of the Nevis Island Administration, charged with recreating and redesigning our Constitution. Establishment and activation of the Justice Committee, chaired by the resident High Court Judge in the Criminal Division, comprising representatives from the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, magistrates, the police, the prison, the Office of the DPP, and the SKN Bar Association, charged with redesigning and improving the administration of justice. Consultation, drafting, and circulation of the Good Governance Legislative Framework, Anti-Corruption Act, Integrity in Public Life Act, and Freedom of Information Act. passing of the St. Kitts Investment Promotion Agency Act, Public Health Act, Small Business Act, Companies Act, and Evangelistic Faith Church St. Kitts Incorporation Act. We have remained committed to diplomacy and international relations during our first 100 days. We had my first official state visit to Taiwan, sponsored by the Republic of China Taiwan, which included members of the opposition in the National Assembly and Nevis Island administration for the first time in our nation's history. Attendance and participation at the United Nations General Assembly, the 72nd meeting of the OECS Authority in Montreal, and the Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum, amongst others. St. Kitts and Nevis's first pavilion and first ever joint SKN youth delegation at the Global Climate Change Conference, COP27 in Egypt. My dear citizens and residents, your government is indeed working. My fellow cabinet colleagues and I have been working tirelessly. We have been attending key regional international meetings where we are building and strengthening bonds of friendship and partnership to improve the well-being of our people. We have been engaging our local ministerial staff and community organizations to gain an even better understanding of the critical needs of our people and the mechanisms we should employ to solve their problems. Your government is off to a good start. It is only a start. We will not be complacent. We will be proactive. We will not be content with average. We will strive for excellence. We will not be boastful. We will serve with humility, honesty, and compassion. So I am very proud of what we have achieved, but I am not satisfied. We have a lot of work left to do. It is work that will take time and it will take effort. But a new day and a better way will continue here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Therefore, I want to thank all of you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, for your support and your patience during these first 100 days. And I look forward to working with you to rebuild and restore our proud nation. I am thankful that we have achieved so much in our first 100 days, but it is our next 1700 days that we must now focus on as we continue to make truly positive changes in the lives of our people. May God bless St. Kitts and Nevis and all of our citizens. Thank you.